Security matters of a different nature following the reactions that trailed the October the 1st ultimatum given to Igbos by a coalition of northern youth organizations to leave the north. The group says it's set to review its position. In an interview with Channels Television in Kaduna, the president of the Ariwa Youth's Consultative Forum, Yerima Shetima, said the decision to review the ultimatum is in the interest of peace and unity of the country. He also said that the intervention of some notable Igbo leaders has shown that the indigenous people of Biafra does not speak for all Igbos.
After the June Kaduna declaration, a lot had happened. So many things happened. The silence on the part of the Southeast governor actually prompted a lot of things that gave birth to the June declaration. And I haven't seen a lot of things going on as regards to the governors having meetings to disassociate themselves from that iPod, believing in Nigeria, and also the organizations such as Ohanese and the Ohanese Youth Council and other prominent Nigerians from that same axis give us reason to begin to think of reviewing our positions. But then officially, when I say officially, it's a coalition. We have not sat down to conclude plans on reviewing the position of things, but I hope very soon we will sit down and also review the situation, and we will make our position very clear on our position on what we felt about the whole thing. To those who believe in Nigeria, they should remain calmly, there is no problem. But to those who felt they want the republic of their own, please, they should not drag the North into that mess, because we strongly believe in Nigeria. They should go back to their area. Since they believe they want to go out of Nigeria and they want to form a republic of their own, they cannot build another nation in the mix of a nation that exists.
Nigeria's former military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, is confident that Nigeria will remain one indivisible nation despite its diversity. General Gowon is not only confident about the country's unity, but he also believes that the present generation have a big role to play in restoring the glory of Nigeria. He says the calls for secession by some groups in the country are mere agitations that cannot stand.
I have such confidence in Nigeria, and I have such confidence in the youth of this country that they will make sure that they take over and do better than what we left for them. So I have no fear, and all these rantings, etc. No. I have confidence in you, but it's all of you that will make sure that we keep this country going and to even make it greater. And diversity is our greatest source of unity and strength.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is calling for reforms in Africa's oil and gas sector to cushion the effect of the losses incurred during the shortfall in the price of oil. The acting president believes the reforms, if well implemented, will improve oil production and boost the economies of oil-producing countries. He was speaking at the opening ceremony of the extraordinary session of the Council of Ministers of African Petroleum Producers in Abuja.
Representatives of oil-producing countries in Africa, government officials, and key players in the oil and gas sector convene to accelerate development in the sector through the sharing of best international practices. This conference holds at a time when OPEC is meeting in Russia to address global challenges in the sector. Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, decries the fall in oil prices over the past 3 years and its detrimental influence on the international and domestic oil market. This huge challenge, he says, must be addressed by reforming the oil and gas sector to withstand any shocks that may arise in the future.
In Nigeria, we are pursuing a series of reforms along these lines, combining executive and legislative action to create a sector that is more efficient, more transparent, and more attractive to domestic and foreign investment. We are also making progress in fine-tuning and implementing our local content policy.
Experts proffer solutions on how to resolve the lack of access to modern energy assets, which has left much of Africa's population relegated to the use of traditional energy resources such as kerosene. They also make the case that modern technology must be adopted for optimal performance in the oil and gas sector.
We need to begin to look at the African market and how they can enlarge it, expand it, make it robust, and yet protect it, so that those of us who play in that market will be able to have a first opportunity to utilize that market.
Today, an African consumes an average of 0.4 ton oil equivalent. This paradox must challenge us all, because no economy can develop without this fundamental factor which is modern energy.
For over 60 years, Africa's oil producers have continued to depend on oil despite their abundant natural and human resources. While many resolutions will be reached here, observers say it is important to develop other sectors such as agriculture and manufacturing for greater economic diversification across the continent.
Meanwhile, governors of Nigeria's southwest states have agreed to adopt a regional integration plan in key sectors of the economy, especially agriculture and security. The governors, under the aegis of the Development Agenda for Western Nigeria Commission, agreed to set up a joint task force to contain all forms of security threats in the region. They've also directed officials of the Dawn Commission to develop a 25-year Western Nigeria Development Master Plan.
That Dawn is directed to develop a 25-year Western Nigeria Development Master Plan, that a joint task force and joint actions will be pursued and sustained on security threats to guarantee the safety of lives, property and prosperity of the people of the region. That Western Nigeria is hereby declared a zero-tolerance zone to crime. That the artificial boundaries of states, religions, political affiliation, etc., will not be a barrier to regional development. All the states are encouraged to significantly improve bilateral and multilateral cooperation to foster regional development. That the competitive advantage of constituent states will be harnessed for sustainable regional development. That Dawn should develop a revenue optimization strategy for constituent states of the region. That in order to improve the food security of the region, Dawn should convene a regional agri summit to be held in Ibadan. This forum be known henceforth as Western Nigeria Governors Forum.
In part two, after the break, Senate President calls for strong legislation for effective universal health coverage for Nigerians. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.